Xbox on Snap.
Alright, yeah, right there. Oh, shh.
I'm included.
Can you guys hear me alright?
No.
Seriously?
What?
Nah, I hear you fine, John. This is serious.
Hey, speaking of which, did you... I see, we're all old enough to remember this, but have you seen the Sprint commercial where they got the "Can you hear me now" guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that? That was... I saw
big.
that and I was like,
Fuck you, huh?
Ooh.
Yeah, that was
big,
kind of a
big
big...
fuck you.
Yeah, I was sort of impressed by that.
Remember us, Sprint? We're still here.
Yeah, and then I
Barely.
looked around and realized that wasn't anything that anybody gave a shit about. I'm like, all right. Well, good for him, though. I'm glad
I didn't
he's
even
working.
catch it right away. I was like, I thought it was another T-Mobile commercial, and then I was like, wait a minute. That's not-
T-Mobile's pink. That's all I know. Sprint's yellow, T-Mobile's pink. I remember you had the fucking sidekick.
Yes, I did.
Like a fucking... like a laptop you strapped to your waist. It was funny too, because I distinctly remember you saying, "No, it's awesome because now I don't need a computer because I have this. I just have this and I don't need a computer." And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, I was totally on board with it. And looking back now, that's like
That wasn't true.
I have this thong, so I don't need to wear pants anymore because I have a thong. You know, it's like. It's
logic
just not
seemed
gonna
sound
cut
at the
it way
time.
you think it's. Yeah, it did. I'm not gonna lie, it did. And the funny thing is that now you really
don't need a computer.
Yeah, I mean my phone has done more for me than my computer has in the last 5 years, hands down. So, but long story short, I'm glad the fucking "Can You Hear Me Now" guy is working. He just said his name. I still don't know his name.
I didn't say his name.
Yeah, well, no, he said it in the commercial like 3 fucking times, but it is noob tubing bastard.
Okay,
so anyway,
so
the reason
let's get
that
started.
Nintendo.
Wait, no, we gotta
Alright, so Nintendo.
first.
Okay, yeah, you're good.
like on the show tonight, we were talking about whether or not. Well, we were going to talk about whether
On
or
the
not
show tonight.
Nintendo is relevant, and that was something that we came up with prior to the whole Pokemon Go thing coming out, and we're gonna just touch on all of that. All right, Jesse has something to say about Nintendo as a company as a whole, so we're just gonna start with that because this should be awesome.
Well, we'll just keep it simple. And the simple fact about Nintendo is that they're basically like a crazy uncle who has one good idea every 10 years or so, and it makes you think that they're maybe still attached to relevancy and reality, but they're really not. Nintendo comes up with one fucking good idea every now and then, and they try to just be like, attach that to Mario or Pokemon or Zelda or something that's fucking been good before. But the problem with Nintendo is they never capitalize on their own good ideas. Basically, they have a great idea that Nintendo or Xbox or PlayStation goes, you know what, that's a really good idea, and since you're not going to go any further with it, we're just going to take it and make it better. Yeah, and they do. I mean, the fucking, first of all, we think of way Connect and, you know, the PlayStation Eye and everything like that. It functions now, and we give Wii a lot of credit for that. But PlayStation had the Eye toy, which I remember John had back in the day.
That was for PS2, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was PS2, so that was way before that. And people forget that because it was so ahead of its time. Like, PlayStation 2 is, I still think, is the best console ever made.
Really?
Because they were so ahead the curve on everything.
I think an argument could be made for that. Like, PS2 was my favorite PlayStation easily.
Yeah, no, it was. It was really, really good. And that's my problem with Nintendo, is that they basically, you know, even though the iToy came before the Wii, they really kind of understood the direction that motion sensor technology needed to go. But then they just decided to do a half-assed children's version of it and never go any further. Like, they had this giant explosion, made a shitload of money, and we're like, all right, we're not going to do anything else with this. You know what I mean? They just decided they weren't going to expand on it in any way. And Microsoft was like, okay, so we can just kind of take what you're doing and make a better version of it and appeal to adults, because adults are the ones that have money. And that's pretty much what happened with it. So I feel like Nintendo is irresponsible with its own ideas, where they get, a good concept going and then they just never follow through. And they can't ever come up with an original idea either, which irritates the shit out of me. Like Pokemon, yeah, I get it, it's great. But the Pokemon Go thing is a fucking, it was a game that was made like 15 years ago.
No, not just that, but even the augmented reality game
of a roller coaster.
Like they basically took a game that already existed. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like one of the only other augmented reality games on the market, and they just reskinned it. Like it's kind of crazy, but slapping the Pokemon name on it, I mean, their shares went up by...
that company they used, Niantic Studios, is actually, I think, the same. That's the same company who did Ingress. Apparently, they met with that guy, and the story, I read it somewhere. So if we do get comments on it, feel free to correct me. But
we won't.
the guy.
This is more
the
for
guy
us.
who
this is all for
the head
us.
guy the head guy of Pokemon or whatever, those head guys, apparently he was a high level Ingress player. Like, he played the shit out of that game, and I guess story goes he got with the other guy, and that's, I guess, how Pokemon, like, apparently Nintendo isn't as relevant. Yes, they have shares in it, but apparently as far as making this game and everything, they didn't do anything. They really didn't.
Well, what is there to do? They took
there's really not
put,
that much to it.
low-level graphics and strapped it over the world, which already exists. I'm pretty sure that they didn't create, the fucking snack aisle at my local Shaw's grocery store. So, you know what I mean? Like, all they did is just plaster something on shit that already exists and try to get people to spend money on it, thinking it's fucking important. And I played the game a little bit, but I swear to you, at least the game I'm thinking of, what was it? Was it on Nintendo 64 where you sat in the roller coaster and you rode around and you just
Pokemon
took
Snap.
snapshots of
Pokemon Snap.
Pokemon Snap. So yeah, it's not even like they couldn't even gotten creative with the title. Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Go, Pokemon fucking take a shit. I mean, just try to put 1 ounce of creativity into this. You know what I mean? But
well, apparently they did need to. But you know what? When I was watching Stacy do it, the one thing, this game's so simple and whatever, but it does what every Pokemon fan, I guess,
wanted
is
you get to hunt
Pokemon,
catch
them and train them. Yeah, so it's kind of as simple as it is. That's actually what everyone wanted all along. Like, wow, I get to go catch them, train them, and fight them just like a real whatever trainer or whatever.
And I
the
can
fuck
get
they're
into
called.
that.
And, like,
I can appreciate them trying to do that. I can, but the problem and the problem I have is I guess I just don't have the faith in Nintendo to actually see it through beyond its fad stage.
I think this is going to do just
they,
fine because it's something that they can dump all their money into. And here's the thing about Nintendo, like, and again, this goes with what John is saying, onto the, like, if I'm wrong about this, somebody feel free to fucking fact check me and let me know. But one of the things that I've read about Nintendo is that due to, like, investments and shit like that, and we can all agree that over the course of time, fucking the Wii has lost money. Like, it's just, no one's buying a Wii right now. I don't think the Wii U did
the
fantastic.
Wii U was a total bomb.
So, but here's the thing about Nintendo,
gaming.
is that they could literally spend the next 50 fucking years in the red and not go bankrupt. Like, that's how well they're doing due to other investments and shit like that. Like, that's why they can afford to take these ridiculous, let's make a fitness game console, and let's make Mario Party 5000. Like, that's just what they can do. Now, with Pokemon Go, it's something that's so simple, and they started out with none of the stuff that they really want to do. Like, I can't just go up to you and battle my Pokemon against your Pokemon right now. Like, that's not something that's there. Right. And that's just part of the game in like, Game Boy or whatever, what have you. And the fact that they've started with giving people so minimal, and then just by handing out some of the features that are actually in the game over the course of the next couple of months, I mean, I don't think this is going anywhere, because it's like mobile games have just blown up. Like, that's where more money in the gaming industry comes from than anything else. And it's crazy to me that an 8-man team with an app that probably cost a couple of thousand to make, just made Nintendo $4 billion. Like, off of a free downloadable app. Like, yeah, you can use people are spending money getting other microtransactions and shit, but that just goes to show you how lucrative this can be, and that it's so easy to manage and run and expand that I really don't see how it's possible to drop the ball on this one. And it's not like Pokemon has gone away as a fad.
I agree with you with that, because the thing is that they've kind of got the perfect storm here of fan loyalty, simplicity, and drug dealer economics, really.
Yep.
You know, hey, first one's free. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, no, you don't have to pay me anything unless you want to. You know what I mean? And that's how they get you. They get you to take a fucking bite, and then next thing you know, they're like, well, I mean, if you really want to get serious, you know what I'm saying? Like that. And the thing is it kind of sounds like I'm digging on Nintendo, which is the last thing I want to do, because Nintendo is the reason we're doing what we're doing right now.
Like, the gaming industry doesn't exist without
You're fucking.
Nintendo.
What are you playing, Josh? What are you
Just
playing
Cause.
right now?
I'm playing Just Cause.
You're playing Just Cause in Arizona, and John's playing Metro in Florida, and we're all talking together, doing our own shit, and none of it would be possible if it weren't for Nintendo, you know what I mean? And if it weren't for Atari and the companies back in the day that basically laid the framework for what we're doing right now. And I really want Nintendo to be successful in this endeavor. I really do. I think that it's good for gaming. It's good for the industry. It's, you know what I mean?
Hell, it's even good for just people in general, because I can't tell you what a big deal it is. Like, yeah, people are bagging on this a lot, but at the same note, people have been fucking crushing candy on fucking Facebook for God knows how long now, and nobody batted a fucking eye at that. But this has actually got kids and adults, and I mean a shit ton of adults, outside with, like, talking to strangers, having a good time, you know, just, it's shit that I don't see anymore, especially in Arizona where it's fucking 120 degrees outside. If I were to walk to the park right now, like, it's like 50 yards from my house, there's going to be a shit ton of people there, and that's because of Nintendo. Like, every night, it is jam-packed with fucking people. And it blows my mind. And they're not even being weird to each other. Like, they're just, hey, man, how you doing? Like, everybody's being nice and sociable, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, I noticed that, too. I thought that was weird. I went to go see a movie the other night, and we got out, and I mean, it was a late showing, so I think we were walking out of the theater at 12:30. And there's a couple youngsters, you know, teenage kids, you know, 17, 18 years old. And they're coming out of the movie theater, too, and the guy's looking at his phone. He goes and says to my buddy, he's like, oh, yeah, there's a lure on this poke stop over here, come check it out, or whatever like that. And, you know, my buddy just started talking to him. We went over there and checked it out, and some other conversation popped up, and they just, I mean, it was weird. You're right. Like, you just don't see that kind of interaction anymore.
No.
You know, especially with a guy like me. I'm not a super social guy, so I look at that and I think it's weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you talking to that guy? But
I think it's weird too, but then I'm caught up in it.
Yeah, if you can actually have a conversation with another human being, that's progress, because we kind of got to a point where a lot of people weren't doing that anymore, you know?
Like,
games have sort of been labeled as something that inverts people, you know what I mean? Keeps you inside, you know, keeps you unhealthy or whatever. You're just sitting around doing nothing. And now this is the total opposite of that. So that's kind of a neat direction for it to be going in, so.
Like, the thing that you were saying about Nintendo being able to capitalize. Like, I'm not worried about Nintendo being able to capitalize on Pokemon Go. I'm worried about if they can use what they gain from Pokemon Go to make themselves relevant in, say, like, the normal console area. Like, because, let's face it, Nintendo has been behind, like, a generation for the last 3 generations.
Japan has been behind a generation.
Yeah. No, that's not true, because
PlayStation
4 is not behind in any way, shape, or form, and that's a Japanese console.
Yeah, but they took a whole console cycle to figure it out. PlayStation 3 was them trying to figure out how to make PlayStation 4. And
that may be true, but if you look at the specs on both of them, like, yeah, I still think that Xbox 360 is a better console than PlayStation 3. But if you look at the technical spec, they're always more advanced than us. You know, they're always beating us in that manner. Now, maybe not in playability or the ease of, like, connecting with friends or playing with friends, but they're always winning on the technical aspect. And with Nintendo, they've just never been relevant in that aspect. or not in the last couple of
Here's
generations.
a good example for that. It's fucking Ivan Drago was technically more advanced than fucking Rocky Balboa, but in the end, it didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about that. Is that the PlayStation 3 had all the bells and whistles, but it, you know, of a fucking Lamborghini, and you know what I mean. But it ran like a friggin' Saturn. It just didn't add up in the end. It wasn't user friendly. And Xbox 360, at least at the time, you know what I mean? Basically, what they ended up doing when they launched One was recanting on everything that was their battle cry for Xbox 360. And it cost them, and they learned. But PlayStation learned throughout the course of PlayStation 3 also, and PS4 is a great console. It's absolutely a great console. I feel like at the beginning of this generation, you couldn't really...
Make an argument for Xbox One. Yeah.
And now, I think if somebody told me, I'm going to get a PlayStation, but I'm thinking about an Xbox, I'd say flip a coin, it really doesn't matter, or whatever console your friends play. You know, that's it. Which leads us to the, you know, the next generation of consoles. Is it a next generation, or is it just, you know, a fucking new layer of paint?
Well, that's like the next Xbox coming out isn't next gen. It's just a smaller version with better memory, basically.
Yeah, it's the slim. It's
so
just,
yeah.
Just
it's exactly. I mean, that's what S stands for. But the one that's coming within a year is the next gen. And the thing that kind of makes me feel weird about that is that it's really fucking soon. Like, I don't feel like I can't honestly remember how long the life was on the 360, but it was long. Like it was a pretty fucking long time.
It was like 8 years.
Yeah. Like we have not been anywhere near that with the Xbox One. I feel like we're kind of still at the beginning of the cycle with the Xbox One and the PS4, and then Xbox comes out and says Scorpio and introduces a word, teraflops, that I have no fucking clue what that means, but now I come to find out that it's basically like 1,000 terabytes, and that amount of power jump, I mean, like it basically every time a new generation comes out, it just doubles the number of the last generation. Like we went from 8-bit to 16-bit to 34-bit to 32-bit to 64-bit, and now we're fucking in teraflops, a word that I had never even heard introduced before. I thought it was fake. I thought someone made it up. I honestly, when I was watching E3, I heard him say teraflop, and I was like, he's making that up. That's like somebody getting out there and says really it's an infinity gig. I'm like, fuck you, you made that up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I thought it was weird too. And, you know, I talked to a friend of mine, Dave, and he was, right after they announced it, I talked to him, and he was concerned. He's like, this is horseshit. I just bought an Xbox One. Because he's one of those guys that he doesn't put up his money day one. He's not going to be a day one edition guy, because his matter of thinking, his frame of mind is, well, it's not going to work right away. There's going to be console, you know, software update after software update. They're going to change the UI. They're going to change. He's like, you know what? I'm happy with what I got. I'm going to wait till you get your shit figured out. Then I'm going to make a decision later down the road, because he knows they're putting out special edition consoles and this and that and everything like that. So now he finally gets an Xbox One 2 years in, which isn't too bad. You know what I mean? It's not like he's, you know, first in line, but it's not like he's last of the dance.
Yeah, he shouldn't already. It shouldn't already be the end of a cycle. Like we shouldn't be anywhere near.
He wasn't even excited. See, that's the thing, is that the announcement is supposed to get you excited.
Yeah.
And he wasn't excited. He was pissed, because he's like, I just came out $350 on a console, and now you're going to tell me I can't, you know, now I need something else. I mean, and they made a point in their presentation at E3 to say everything that you have is going to work on Scorpio. And I feel like if they felt like they had to make that statement, that they knew it was going to be a concern. So hopefully they actually really take and focus and make sure that it does work the way it's supposed to. But how often in games have they gotten things to work the way they're supposed to the first time? You know what I mean? Like, it never happens.
I think the thing with the Scorpio and everything is you know, I can kind of see that, like, if you just got a 360 and like an Xbox One, and it's like, oh, all right, well, now a more powerful one's coming out. But it's like, I mean, if everything's still gonna work,
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing with you can equate it to cell phones, cars. You can get the BMW M3, and then guess what? A year later, the BMW M3S that's got 10 more horsepower comes out, and you're like, oh well shit, you know? I mean, so it's kind of it's gonna happen no matter what. And I just think, hey, look, if graphics and performance is something that you do, that's a big focal point when you're gaming. Then yeah, I mean, go ahead and upgrade. But it's like, yeah, if you're just looking to game, you want a decent console, well then get the S,
Yeah,
So
but like,
I
there's
kinda
the
like it.
thing about like, how much support are they really going to give the current generation? I mean, they said the same thing about the 360 when the Xbox One was coming out, that they're still going to support it, they're still going to be making games, and that lasted for a little bit. But look at how many games don't actually work on the Xbox 360 compared to the ones
Well,
that work on the Xbox
I don't know.
One.
I mean,
Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat.
I don't-
They just canceled it. They just
Yeah.
didn't even bother
I don't know
to
the,
continue.
and fucking like
I don't
right
know
now they've stopped making games for the Xbox 360, and then they're wondering about the games that people still play on it, like Destiny. Oh god, I hate Destiny. But like, Destiny basically isn't for 360 isn't going to be getting the same type of support. Like, they won't be getting any of the new expansions and shit like that. And honestly, I don't give a shit, because fuck Destiny and fuck Xbox 360 at this point. If you don't have the next gen right now, then you're kind of just like, it's been long enough to where you needed to upgrade. Like, all your friends have different systems.
come
It's
on,
time for you to
step it
stop
up,
being a
step your game
hoe,
up.
a miser, and just fucking buy it. Buy the system. Don't be a bitch. Like, but like, what I'm worried about is how much support are they really going to have, and if the Xbox One is really going to be able to play all that same shit, and the people are going to be able to play the same shit on the Scorpio, then other than the graphical jump, like, what's the point? Like,
I think what the if Xbox if I mean, because what they're going for, they're trying to trump PS4. That's what I feel like this is. This is a move where it's like, okay, we're tired of the Xbox is tired of being second place or the second fiddle, because they dominated with the 360, and I think that's why they just announced it at E3 like that. Like, it felt a little. I mean, clearly it was premature because you get that stupid developer diary, whatever. It meant the power of this, the possibilities, and all these people talking. They don't show anything about it except this 3D image of a motherboard being put together, and it's like, oh great, I don't know what any of that means, but it's technology, so like, hey, there's chips and data, and it's gonna be good, and,
oh, you can't drop
and
a
it's
word like teraflop on me that's that ridiculous and not show me something
Exactly, and
that
it's,
I can grasp,
It's I think the power play for them should be is if, like you're saying, like the whole, take care of your community and people, early adopters and people who day one this shit and got it and everything. I bet you they will. They should do some sort of rebate program. Like, look, you have an Xbox One, you trade it in, towards the Scorpio, and it's like $100 more, $80. Because I'd do it. I would do it.
I'll make that. I'm going to make
send
the
it
jump.
in. I would. Yeah, me too. Because I'm like, I love technology, so I'm not gonna sit here and go, there's a better one out there right now, and I know it. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause that's what I felt when, like with the 360 was like when Xbox One was coming out, and you're just like, yeah, I mean, but in the back of your head, you're like, there's a better one out there. That little
It was
thing in
the
back of
first
your head,
time
like,
for me ever making the generation jump the first day. Like, I had never done that before. Like, I'd always waited a few months, even like a year, a couple of times, and it's just like, this time I was like, you know what, fuck that. I'm gonna get the first one. I want it. I don't care. Like, this is happening. And I don't regret it. Like, I still have my same Xbox One. It's the day one edition. My day one controller still works. I've never had a single fucking problem with it. I love this. I love the console. Like, yeah, it wasn't the most user-friendly console I've ever had, but it was by far, like, I don't regret my decision in it. Like, all my friends play Xbox One.
Those regrets, even if you have regrets, they're short-lived now because of the fact that you're dealing with two separate entities in hardware and software. Mm-hmm. And the hardware was engineered for the software to be able to fix problems as they came up, which is awesome. You know what I mean? That's what you want to see. And I guess what I equate the Scorpio to is the Elite controller, where not everybody is going to want the Elite controller. Not
Using
everybody
it right
is going to
now.
have use for the Elite controller. But yeah, guys like you or me, I don't have one yet, but I know.
It's happening.
I know.
Yeah, me too.
It's
Same
gonna
thing with
happen.
me. I'm like, I need one.
I'll tell you what, man. Like
But-
it is a benefit. Like I enjoy the controller. It's great in Call of Duty to not have to like take my finger off the stick to have to jump or slide or like it takes a while to get used to the paddles, but it's fucking brilliant. And being able to map out your controller, I think, is going to be something that's just kind of universal from here on out. Like it should just be.
It should, yeah, it's one of those things you feel like it kind of should have always
kind of
been,
just
you know?
common
like,
sense, you know. Like I should be
like-
able to do whatever the fuck I want with my controller.
Except for inverted.
Oh God, fuck people that
Fuck
play
inverted people.
If you're
Yeah,
listening to this
yeah.
and you play inverted, go eat a dick. Eat all of them.
What do you like, we flying fucking airplanes with
Fucking Lance plays
backwards.
inverted. Makes me want to punch him every time.
Yeah, see? Is Lance here right now? Exactly.
But yeah, like the fucking the Elite controller is great, and I understand that the Scorpio is not going to be for everybody. Like what I honestly think that they're doing with it, the reason why it's coming out so soon, is because we are on the verge of virtual reality gaming. Like, you know, that's not it's coming
Yeah.
in 10 years thing. It's literally about to fucking happen.
And you know, I'm one of those people who said when what was it like when Oculus Rift, like they announced it and showed it to the public, and I remember they showed it came with an Xbox One controller, and I'm like, huh, you know, like all right, and they're like, well, it's not coming out though, it's not coming out for the Xbox, but you know, I don't know, it's just PC, but hey, you get an Xbox One controller. I'm like, so you made a deal with Microsoft, you know what I mean? Like Xbox, hey, can we incorporate your controller with our shit, you know? So I think that's another thing with Scorpio is it's gonna be able to use Oculus.
Oh yeah, they
I
already
really
said
think-
they said that. They
Yeah,
said it's
yeah,
going to be
that's-
completely
it's-
Oculus ready. I think it comes with an Oculus. Like it's just ready to
If
go.
that's true, that will be an amazing deal. Like, cause that's my whole big thing right now is price.
Yeah,
I'm
the Oculus
super
is
curious.
not
By the
cheap.
way, Josh, I bought I have the Samsung
I know you.
Gear VR.
You told me the other day.
I did. Yeah. It's actually way more impressive than I thought it would be. It's actually way more fun. I couldn't believe how good it was. I spent $33 on it on eBay for a brand new one, and it's fantastic. It's really easy to use. You just plug your phone in and like off you go, and it's really it gave me hope for the PlayStation VR and Oculus and everything, because I'm like, wow, if this thing's $33, you know, and the Oculus is what, like $700, and the Vive's like $1,000, like I can only imagine, you know, what, you know, and once they get the whole latency down and like, you know, I mean, me personally, when I like using the VR, like I did all the roller coaster things and all the crap
Yeah.
on it, I don't get motion sickness at all. I mean, Jesse will tell you, I'm insane. I'll ride, you know, I'm the, you know, ride rides. I'm totally, you know, down. But it's that there's a little bit of graininess. You can kind of see the pixels, but I mean, like I said, you
It's
get
nothing that's
these
not
things
going to be fixed
still,
by the
but
time it's out.
Exactly. So it's I do. After using that really made, because the whole thing about the VR, which I kind of just shut it out. Like I've read a couple things about it, but I shut it out because it's to me, it's, you got to try it. That's the only way you're gonna figure out whether or not it's good. Everybody on the planet can tell you, oh yeah, it's cool, it does this and that, but until you try it, you know what I mean? You don't know, you know, because I would never buy one of those, like, with just off somebody's opinion, you know? Like, let me go to Best Buy, whatever, let me just try a stupid demo of something, popping balloons, whatever, you know, just so I want to, you know, I can see for myself, you know?
And it also, like you said, you got one for like what,
$30.
So yeah, that's not a huge risk to take. I mean, you
Yeah,
get that and
exactly.
it sucks,
$700
and it's
is
not-
like, this better
But
be
that's
good.
a huge risk for John to take. I mean, we're talking about the same person that refused to try a fucking hot and spicy because he was already 100% sure he liked double cheeseburgers.
Well, there's a difference there because you're talking about loyalty. You know what I mean? You're talking about where your heart runs, and that's double cheeseburgers are kind of a ride and die thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to turn your back on
But
that.
it's still
it's like,
$1 is my
hey,
point. Like,
let me tell you this. Let me tell you, and this is a full-blown true story. I was living down in Florida, and I'd never been to a firehouse subs. And John went, they're good, but they're kind of expensive. So that means it took me another 3 months to try it because he said they were expensive. But I finally go in there, and I every time I try a new sandwich place, my go-to is an Italian. I'll go with an Italian because I'm like, all right, if they make a good Italian, it's an all right place. That Italian was so good, and this is not an exaggeration. John can validate this. I had to get put on cholesterol medication twice.
Yeah, he did. He ate large Italian subs for like a week straight and gained like 13 pounds. Like
I gained 20 pounds on 2 separate occasions eating at Firehouse. The second time, the manager, he was the owner operator, actually just started giving me work shirts because he was like, I was just there. They'd see me coming across the parking lot. They'd start making my sandwich. By the way, I'm not like 400 pounds. I'm like 230 pounds.
but he's tall.
But I'm big. I'm tall, so
tall.
it's acceptable. I'm not.
But I have a big heart.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. So anyway, the point of this story is that I ate Italians at this place for 7-8 years. I never tried anything else, and the first time something else caught my eye, I was, man, I really want to try that. I ordered an Italian and that, and I ate them both. But I ate the other thing first, just in case. Because I'm loyal, and those are decisions that you just can't make those lightly. You have to really think about these things. You know what I mean? You eat a bad lunch, it's gonna fuck up your whole day. So yeah, that's why I feel like the VR for $30 is a far less gamble than a hot and spicy for $1, and that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah,
yeah, I know. It's kind of hard
really
to pick
curious.
up and go after that, but
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm really curious about it. I hope, you know what I mean, it doesn't end up in the same bucket of, connects, you know what I mean? Like, I hope it doesn't go that route, because this is like, as far as video gamers, like how Pokemon Go is to Pokemon fans, virtual reality is what, it is to hardcore gamers. Like, this is what we wanted. Like, hey, look around, you're in that world. I mean, am I the only person who would say, like, wouldn't it be amazing? You're looking around and you look down at your hand, you have an axe, and you're in Skyrim. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, I'm here. This is, here we are. Like, let's go. Let's, it's it's that immersion, is what we kind of all want. And I mean, I can tell you like this, I used the VR when I got it for like a couple hours, and they have, different demos and whatever, and there was one where you're in like some southern like Thailand, somewhere over there, the Polynesian islands, like you're out there, and this tribe, and it's so crazy because I'm sitting in my chair and I had my headphones on, so it's full surround sound, and you're looking 360 degrees, and there's people just doing stuff, they're fishing and everything here, and I was totally like, I did for a while, I got sucked in, and like when I took the VR off, even though it was for a split second, my body had to adjust that, like, oh yeah, I'm in my living room. Like, it was weird. It was the weirdest feeling. Like, yeah, it didn't last long, but that first time I took it off, I was like, oh yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, you know what? And you know what that is? That is virtual reality. And
yeah, it was
reaction.
Your mind and your body accepting where you were.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience,
Well, that's good, because
like,
that's a good sign for what they're trying to accomplish, and yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about it at this point because, like, I remember Virtual Boy when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That was a gimmick.
That was a night, yeah. That
things
people
like
went
that.
blind, I think, using that.
People went broke using that. You bought
it was so
VR
expensive.
for $30. That thing was like $100 back in 1989.
With like 6 games.
Like 1992. Oh yeah, and
they were all in red.
Right as
Remember,
red,
all the games were red.
Yeah, which means colorblind people couldn't even tell what they were doing. Mine's broken, like. But that's the sort of John's colorblind. He's got deuter and opia. We were playing Forza, And he's like, man, I really want to try that. I'm like, all right. He's not a huge gamer, and he's following the arrow, you know, showing him where to go, and he fucking keeps driving at 100 miles an hour into walls. And I'm like, dude, you really suck at this game. He's like, what? I mean, what am I supposed to be doing? I'm like, just follow the line. He's like, I am following the line. I'm like, yeah, but you're not slowing down. The line went from, you know, green if you're good to yellow, you should slow down, and red, you're gonna fucking pull a Vince Neil and kill your passenger, you know? And he sucks. Anyway, he couldn't see the color transition, so he was driving 150 miles an hour everywhere he went because he couldn't see that he was supposed to slow down. And that's something they actually started incorporating into games, which, you know,
you can
I'm
play Call of Duty right now
you don't think about
for
that.
A colorblind guy. Like, they have little things that kind of let you know which team's yours and all sorts of shit. It's weird.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you think about it, it's kind of a bigger issue than, I mean, if you're not colorblind, you're never going to think about it. But try playing Borderlands with your buddies, okay? And a gold gun drops or a pearl gun drops. You'd be like, oh, nice, hey, can I get that one? It's a piece of shit. Oh yeah, no, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? You're just taking all the good shit from your buddy because he doesn't even know it's good. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's just you being an asshole.
Part of games. Well, yeah, it is, but I mean, I'm not going to just fucking let a pearl gun go because I'm a nice guy. I mean, Jesus Christ. But it is kind of cool that, well, that's the whole thing is with, you know, the new consoles and the new, you know, technology they're trying to pour into it. I think the whole announcement was just basically, they want developers to know. And it was the same thing when they came out at E3 a couple years ago and they started hyping the One and the PS4, is that they want developers to know what they can get their hands on as soon as possible, because they're probably planning games for years
because you
from
need
now,
people
and
working
need
on something
them
at
to
your
know.
release.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, but that kind of technological advancements, you know, from, you know, teraflops to, you know, settings for
They
all
need
different
to
kinds
just
of,
come up with a better name for that. God, I hate that.
Gigatits. Gigatits and teraflops. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like big swinging clackers. Teraflops. Some fat girl named Tara with fucking fried eggs hanging from a nail.
Oh, God.
Anyway. But, you know, shit like that, it's cool to see that they're taking into account all those things, because it's showing the respect the industry has gotten over the last, you know, 30, 35 years, you know what I mean? It's finally at a point where everybody takes this shit seriously, to the point where they have to consider every angle, and they have to, you know, be professional and be forward thinking. And that's good for us as gamers, because it means we're going to be getting a high quality product. You know, people know that they can't just say, oh yeah, this is our new idea, Project Natal, and it's going to do all this shit, and then it doesn't do any of that shit. You can't get away with that anymore. You have to be better than that. And if that's the case, and it is, then you can go out and buy a virtual reality set for $30 and it's actually going to function. You know what I mean? That's amazing. So, it's cool stuff.
And one of the things that I've gotten to hear about with virtual reality is anybody that I know that's used the Rift has said, like, you know, they're capitalizing on a lot of first-person shit and this, that, whatever, and horror games. They're like, if they were to depend on horror games, they're going to fail because it's too scary. Like, they're like games you wouldn't even expect to be scary are a million times more scary than you can imagine, because you're there and there's nothing you can do about being there other than taking
What about
that
Call of
fucking
Duty?
thing off.
I mean, shit.
Well,
Do you want to get shot at? I don't want to get shot at.
Like, yeah, and then you know what? The whole over-your-shoulder thing, now that's an actual, you know, now you really got to look over your shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, when you're playing on TV, it's like,
they were talking about
around the
playing
corner.
Alien Isolation on the Rift, and it's like he's like it's horrible, because like even like you try to cover your hands with or cover your eyes with your hands, you can't. Whatever's in front of you is what you got to fucking deal with. He's like, and it's just
that's what eyelids are for.
He's like, he's like, you completely forget where you are. He's like, it's really fucking freaky. And then I'm looking at things that are coming out for the Rift and for virtual reality games. Like, there's this thing called a sub-vest where it translates sound into, like, physical interaction. Like, if a gun goes off, then you feel it in your chest and shit. And it's like, well, that's gonna be terrifying.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear the first person that dies of a heart attack from having that.
Heart attack. But you know what? What was the thing? You know, the thing that Microsoft was doing. It was a concept thing, um, with the little cameras you put around your living room, and it was supposed to,
Illuma
like
room.
if you
They should have done
room,
that.
yeah,
That was
that
cool.
whole, because the whole idea, if you're playing, you're playing a first-person shooter, and someone's shooting at you, and then you look around the room, and there's bullet holes, like like on the wall, like that's kind of a cool, kind of thing, like the
Yeah, I
fact
want to
that
know what
like,
happened to that because I've heard of that and then I never heard of it again. And it
Well,
bummed me
yeah.
out because the trailer for it was so cool and I mean, it just disappeared. I have no idea what happened to it. And I remember, John, you and I watched that together and I went, geez, I hope that we actually see more from this and it's not just a one-off.
Well,
that
I
we
think
never
the
see
reason
again.
they
And
got
that's
rid of
exactly
that
what it
is
was.
because we're on the precipice of like virtual reality. Like, what is the point of
HoloLens.
having all of these fucking,
HoloLens, I think, changed that with the AR. Yeah, the
yeah,
AR with
like
HoloLens. I think
what
that's
is the point of having all this equipment that you have to set up to like project this shit around your room and do that and whatnot, what have you, when you could just be wearing the Oculus Rift, it map out your room in augmented reality, make everything look different and make bullet holes appear. Like that's already like something that is happening right now is with augmented reality. There's augmented reality theme parks. Like you can go there and like kind of like a laser tag arena, everything's bare until you put the helmet on and then you see it like an alien ship, or it'll look like a castle or whatever, and you play the game like that, where there are actual objects in front of you, they have just taken a different appearance, and then like all the enemies are virtual. And I think that's
I guess
the
that makes
reason
sense
why.
because
Yeah.
if you're playing Gears of War 5 and you're running around fighting these giant monsters and next thing you know your whole room is shaking and there's bullet holes everywhere and I mean, yeah, it's not real, but it's going to irritate everyone in your house.
Exactly.
I guess they're like, this is a great idea, but we should make it a more personal
Yeah, and you know what, man?
experience.
When they demoed the HoloLens and when I heard about it, everyone was super fucking impressed by it. And I mean, yeah, they showed fucking Minecraft, which, god damn it, I don't understand that game. I don't fucking stand why everyone's. Yeah, I get it. The Legos, you build everything, but it still looks like shit. It looks like shit. It's shit. But nonetheless, though, the fact that he fucking put that shit on his coffee table and was like, hey, look, this is what I built, and you can like walk around it, look underneath it and shit. That is pretty fucking cool. That, you know what I mean? Like that you could do something like that. Like you could be, playing some sort of strategy game and have the stereotypical map, with like the little tanks and everything, and you could move them around. Like, all right, look, we got to go in this way, and someone's got to, do this, and you're looking at the little, the little board, I guess. I mean, I feel like the HoloLens could be like the same thing. Like you could add it in with games, but don't force it. Like what they did with the Kinect. Like I don't know, but it does have potential to have something in its own. The whole Minority Report kind of deal again. You know what I mean? Have certain screens. You look at that. You could literally have your inventory. On a different screen over here, so you know what you have for ammo and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Well, hey, I got to totally change gears for a second here because there's something that I missed out of E3 that I just need to ask you guys about. Did you guys see the trailer for that game, We Happy Few?
Yeah.
Yeah. That looks really good. That looks like it's like BioShock meets fucking Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, that's... Well, you know what? That's it. Or I guess we're done talking about it. That's really all. It sounds like that was the idea somebody had, and they just said, all right, here's a pile of money. Go make it happen. So I don't know that it's going to be like earth-shattering as far as, an idea goes because it seems pretty, laid out for you. But it definitely looks cool. It looks like something I want to play because... BioShock was great. I really enjoyed the BioShock games. I think they're making a remaster of them. But, I mean, the thing is, it was a fun enough game where I could play through it again for the right price. But That game looks really interesting, and I heard it's supposed to be a kind of a rehash, like, you know, the Germany won the war type scenario or whatever it is again. And but it looked interesting to me, and I really liked that. I read a review of, you know, their presentation in Game Informer the other day, and then I went on ahead and on YouTube and watched it and shit. And it looked pretty neat. I liked it.
Yeah,
So
I thought it looked really
that,
good. I was a
and,
little weirded out by it when it first started, because but then once it got into the whole don't take the happy pill shit, and it started taking that really dark, fucked up turn, I was just like, yeah, this looks great. Like fucking, they were just eating a dead rat. That's fucked up.
Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting. I like that, but
yeah, I think that game definitely has, potential. But you know what? BioShock was like, yeah, it was, for as far as it changed first-person shooters. You know what I mean? Like, it was the first. I really want to feel like first-person shooter where the combat wasn't, you know what I mean? The focus, like, the world was so inviting to like explore and shit that like the combat almost seemed like an afterthought to that game. You know, like the world was just really like interesting. But the last one they made, God, the potential it did have for DLC and like how the story went, and then what they did do was like.
Wait, are you saying
like,
you
hey,
didn't like BioShock Infinite?
It was all right, but the ending, I'll tell you this: the ending in the DLC is what I didn't like. Like how it showed all these different universes, you know, the different lighthouses, and like it's all interconnected in different times. And remember when she did a tear, and it was like 1985 or whatever, and like, but you never got to like maybe
go to those ones
to a level in 19. Yeah, you never. So when the DLC comes out, I'm like, oh shit! I bet you're gonna be able to go to the 80s. And, you know, 1800s.
So that's what you're actually upset about, that you didn't get to do Back to the Future with BioShock Infinite.
Oh yeah, or just, but here's the thing: I mean, yeah, that was the one they showed. You know what I mean? It was like, oh shit, you know, that could be awesome. But then, what's the DLC? You go back to Rapture, and it's like, what the fuck? We just did this. It's like I did this twice.
Yeah.
We did two games.
No, I
of this,
agree with you.
And you just showed an infinite universe.
You take me to the one place I've already been.
Yeah, they actually, with Infinite, they created a completely new vibe. They really did, because BioShock
the floating city was
specific.
really cool.
Yeah, BioShock was a very specific vibe, you know what I mean? And BioShock 2 was, you know, more of that vibe. And then when they came out with Infinite, it had the same vibe, but it had a totally
It got really
different...
racist. Like, it got extremely racist.
But the visuals, it felt familiar, but it felt fresh. You know what I'm saying? And with them taking you back to Rapture, they're defeating the purpose of what they accomplished in the main game. So it's kind of counterproductive DLC. You know what I mean? Which is normally something I attribute to Capcom.
I can't really put too much into this one because I'm not a huge fan of the BioShock series. Like, I played Infinite, I played a little bit of the first one. I didn't play the second one at all, I think. And it just wasn't something that really
more of the first
me.
one. It really was, but it was good. You know what I mean? It's not something you would ever really regret because it just felt so good. You know what I mean? Once you got it in your hands, once you got that game in your hands, it felt really good, and it was fully enjoyable every time. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those games where I'd be thinking about it, and I'd want to get back into playing it. You know what I mean? Because the environment set a tone that you could relate to. You know what I mean? And you could feel interested about it. I wouldn't be able to relate to it, I suppose. I guess that's bad wording, but you know what I mean? It felt like it was some place that I would be interested in checking out. You know? And considering how horrible the place really was, that's saying a lot. So, but yeah,
well, that actually brings me to something else.
Actually,
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, We Happy Few. It did. It reminded me of that BioShock feel, the vibe that it put off,
that was the vibe I got from it, just on the art direction of it alone. Like, it looked really. Look really like BioShock.
It looks like BioShock. I wonder if anybody has something to do with that. I wonder if that's like
the same team or some of the people that work on BioShock.
Yeah, production studio or something like that. I don't know.
You know,
But anyway,
what
go ahead.
Bioshock always kind of reminded me of too was, John, you remember Time Splitters?
Oh yeah, yes. Wow.
Like that is a
that's
game
one of the
I
most
want back
underrated
more than.
games.
Yeah, that is a game I want back more
actually,
than anything.
What was it? It's not Doom. Was it Homefront? One of the games that that company who just did a recent game. They actually there's a level there's an Easter egg where you find something and you can actually play a level from Time Splitters.
What?
You play a whole level of it. Yeah, I'll have to. Where's my phone? I'll Google it. Yeah, there's an Easter egg. You go back. I don't know if it's Homefront, if that's the same team, but yeah, you find something and then you play a whole mission from Time Splitters.
I fucking
They
love
find
Time
that
Splitters.
weird time travel, and then what everyone was saying about that, they're like, wow,
Best
why
part
don't
of the
they bring
game.
That game back. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard
That was a
Homefront was
really fun
terrible.
game. Yeah, that's what I heard too. I heard like they said, like the idea of it, you know, somebody occupying the U.S. and you have to, you know, it's on, you know, our side or whatever, and blah blah blah. I just heard that it's the mechanics were just
Yeah, it
bad.
just wasn't
like,
there.
It's just, yeah.
But see, that's twice that they failed at Homefront then, because the first
Yeah,
one
yeah.
had the same concept, and it was everybody's like, oh yeah, great concept, just horrible execution, and then they get a second chance at it, and they fuck this pooch on that one too. So, but yeah, like that's kind of the other vibe that I got from We Happy Few, the art direction anyway. It's got that like cartoony vibe, but yet it's like super dark, super serious.
Kind
and
of, yeah. Like it was a mix between. Now that you mentioned Time Splitters, that makes more sense. Like Time Splitters, and kind of Dishonored too, because Dishonored's got that kind of
Yeah.
cartoony look to it. Which, by the way, I don't know about you guys, but I really don't care about Dishonored.
I don't
2.
care
Like,
about Dishonored at all.
I'm not.
I don't care.
I
about
don't.
it either.
That's one of those games where it like. It got a fan
we're all in
following, but
agreement.
the fans were so loud about it and like, no, it's like it's good. And then, like I played it and I was like,
Eh.
I feel like I played that
Yeah.
game before somewhere else. That's what I felt like when I was playing. I was like, oh, sneak up behind him, stab him, hide, sneak up
To
behind
me,
this guy,
it
stab
was a
him.
mixture
oh, you can
of
just be a rat,
Thief.
and it's like,
It was a mixture of Thief
Yeah.
and Bioshock.
Yeah, and Thief wasn't very good.
No, Thief was terrible. That was the most linear piece of shit I've played in quite some time. I think a lot of the games that came out when the new generation started, just like always, were pretty bad. Like fucking Rome, or Rise, Fall of Rome, or whatever the fuck it was. That was just one big quick time
yeah.
event. In fact, I think I told you not to touch
you
it when you were
actually
asking.
played it?
Oh,
Yeah, because I was debating on buying it. I was like, should I? I always wanted to try it, and you know.
John's like, it's
it
like
looked
$6.
really
I'm
nice.
gonna buy it. I was like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, and then I did
No!
that, so I got Metro fucking last night, so I'm with a bunch of Russians in subways and fucking getting killed by mutant dogs. What are you gonna do? $7, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Could have been a sandwich,
wouldn't have
though.
done
Could have
that.
been a sandwich.
I wouldn't have
Yeah,
done that.
bet
with it. I
money
would've
better
gone to
spent.
Firehouse.
Money better spent. Unless you really like QuickTime events, there's no reason to ever play that game.
Yeah.
I was just
You know what,
bummed
though?
because the sale this year sucked, as far as I'm concerned. It wasn't.
The
good.
one thing I really wanted to buy from, and I'm not disappointed with my like I bought Just Cause 3, and
Cause,
I'm
which
not
is,
I'm
yeah,
not
not
disappointed
bad
with
at
this
all.
at all. I got all the DLC for it. I made out. Like, but the main thing that I was really hoping for in the fucking sale was a game I've already owned. I wanted to rebuy fucking Alien Isolation. Like, I can't remember why
I wanted a
traded
fucking
it in.
Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Season Pass DLC.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
tired
what
of them
I
putting
wanted.
all their-
Yeah.
I was tired of them putting all their freaking coins on sale or whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't care about that. I just want to play the DLC, but I don't want to spend the price of another game for it. Which,
Especially when it's almost over. Like, we're on the last DLC.
Yeah.
I think it just came out for PlayStation, and then it's done. It's done.
Yeah, so I mean, I won't do it. I won't spend $50 on maps that I'm gonna get mad about anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
That said,
I enjoy the game.
This
Because I
was
know
my
what it
favorite
is
Call of
now.
Duty. Yeah.
Well, I've always liked the
yeah,
Black Ops series.
hands down.
I never played. I couldn't do Modern Warfare. I couldn't do all that other shit. But Black Ops actually, it felt like it tried. You know what I mean? Like Black
So
Ops
yeah,
always
I
kinda
didn't like
felt
Black
it
Ops
was-
1, and I was kind of on the fence about Black Ops 2, but I really hated Black Ops 1. Like maybe it was more
if that's the
campaign that I
case-
hated about it than anything else, and that's not
Well,
really
but
something to judge
the
a Call
thing-
of Duty on.
No, it definitely isn't because the replayability is always there in multiplayer, and I felt like their multiplayer has gotten better with every incarnation of it. I feel like their
Nah,
campaign
except
has gotten better
for
with every
well,
incarnation.
you're
of
talking
it.
about with every Black Ops. I thought you were talking about like every Call of Duty
Yes.
in general.
Yeah, no, I always liked the way the Black Ops played better, and I feel like that they actually got better with every game. So
I think that too.
Wow.
Like I said, I didn't really like Black Ops 1, but I really like Black Ops 3. Like it's by far my favorite Call of Duty thus far.
I think, because I think I was the same way like Josh is. I didn't care for the first Black Ops, but I think it was the old war fatigue. I was tired of old shit. Like after
I
playing
wasn't
Modern
even-
Warfare, I was like, oh, nice. Like this was good. And it was like, hey, you want to go back to the 50s? And I'm like, no, I don't.
Can I say no right now? Like,
Yeah, like it was just like because like it was like I went from sniping in Chernobyl, which that was still my favorite part of
that's
that
still
whole
one of the
campaign
best
in
levels.
Modern. It was-
Levels, period.
Yeah, and then it was like, hey, remember when racism was still hot, up and
Alive
going,
and well,
going
yeah.
strong? Like, remember that stuff? Remember? It's like remember
your
there was
lawn's
no
getting a little high. I used to have a guy for that, dick.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. That's why I didn't really give that one a chance. And then Black Ops
My
2, and
issue
then,
with Black Ops
everybody got
1
it.
was the time hopping. Like, first of all, I don't want to play through Vietnam. Like, I'm glad that's like we got to do a different war. At least it wasn't World War II. Like, I refuse to play World War II games. At this point, I've gotten to the point where I feel bad shooting Nazis. Like, it's over. I don't ever want to
Wow.
shoot. I'm serious. I don't ever want to shoot another Nazi again.
All right.
After-
So if there was
after
ever going to be
PS2
anything to trump me making fun of Muhammad Ali, it's Josh being a Nazi sympathizer. So heard it here first. I don't want to shoot Nazis. They've suffered enough.
No, I'm just over it,
You-
man. Like, I never
you,
want to
my
play another
friend,
World War
take
II
the-
game again. Like, it's just
take the piece
think about
of
it like
shit
this:
cake of the day
PS2. What was every single first-person shooter about? World War II. And I'm
yeah.
done.
Well, I mean-
I've killed Hitler so many times. I don't want to do it anymore. It's not because I sympathize with Hitler. It's just
He
because
suffered
that's the
enough.
most boring.
He was
shit
an artist.
ever. He was
They
an
just needed
artist.
to give Hitler a chance, right? They just needed to give him a chance. They just didn't listen. There was a genius in there somewhere behind that little tiny mustache. He suffered enough. Okay, we get it.
Yeah, that's what I feel about zombies. I'm kind of over zombies. I'm tired of undead bullshit. Like I said, whatever we are in the cycle, I'm ready for ninjas again. I'm ready for them to remake Tenchu. Why hasn't that been remade? You know what I mean? Onimusha. I want to get back into those games. That's what
What was that
I'm tired of
terrible game we
zombie
used to
hordes.
play for PlayStation, John? Ninja.
I think it was
Whatever it
called
was.
Ninja, like something Shadow War, and it was that isometric.
Oh, you talking about the one
top-down,
that the same people
He's, like,
made?
purple.
The same people that made Tomb Raider.
Yes.
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
I
that
actually
game-
enjoyed that one.
I don't like any ninja game where you don't actually act like a ninja. Like, Ninja Gaiden is annoying to me. He's supposed to be the greatest ninja ever. He's never snuck anywhere. Anywhere. Start of every mission, he jumps down and just starts slaughtering people in droves. Like, fucking sneak, you son of a bitch. Sneak somewhere. Like, do anything besides what you're doing. Like, I miss Tenchu. I'm with John. I miss Tenchu.
That was
Tenchu-
God, what a game
Tenchu
changer.
Wrath of Heaven was one of the best games I ever played. I remember
The
that game.
soundtrack was
fondly.
amazing, and just you were
Everything
a
was-
ninja. You got to be.
Everything was amazing. I had a great multiplayer where you got points for
did it-
doing everything completely
Once again, I
flawless
should
and
Google
sneaking.
this shit instead of ask the question. Did it come out before or after Metal Gear?
Metal Gear,
What?
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, for PlayStation. Did Tenchu come out before or after that?
Tenchu Wrath of
before.
Heaven was on PlayStation 2.
No,
So Metal
Oh
Gear-
yeah, I'm talking about just Tenchu, the first one, the very.
I think it
first
came out
Tenchu.
before. Pretty sure it came out before.
I was gonna say that
was ahead
the
of its
first game I
time.
can never remember stealth. being stealthy and doing stealth kills. That was the first game I could remember, and it had the little meter, how close you got. It was like 10.
Oh, hey
and
viewers.
it went up to
Thanks for
like
stopping
100.
by.
Like, and
You can keep
yeah,
talking.
I started a fucking genre almost. You know what I mean? Like,
That's also
and
what
you could
makes me
tackle the
hate.
missions how you wanted to.
That's also what makes me hate fucking Assassin's Creed, because I feel like we've all just been waiting for them to make us a ninja Assassin's Creed, and they're just like, that's the
Oh,
obvious choice. Let's send you to England.
You know,
Yeah.
and that
Like
when I
anybody
listened
wants
to
to go there.
interview-
I've been to England, and England is the dirtiest, shittiest city. Or London. London is the dirtiest, shittiest city I've ever been to, and I don't ever need to go back.
What
That
made me
being
mad
said,
is
I
in an
think I'm
interview,
going back in 2
in an
years.
interview with one of the people who made Assassin's Creed, and the interviewer asked, he said, "So are you ever going to make an Assassin's Creed in feudal Japan?" And he says, "Well, we've all played that game before." And I was like,
Yeah, and it was great.
Hey,
Like, it was great.
yeah. I was like, and you guys could make it,
Better.
Like you said, yeah, let's go to fucking England and That, you
Like,
know what? But I will say this: Black Flag was really fucking good.
I
will
liked
give
Black
them that.
Flag. I liked-
never thought I would like being a pirate as much as I did.
And I like the one with the native
I haven't
dude.
played it.
But I do
It's
not.
good.
I
It's
do
a
not
lot
want
of
to go to
fun.
France. I do not want to go to France for any reason. I don't want to be a sneaky Frenchman either. And I don't want to
like
be
there
in
was
England.
any other kind.
I don't want to be in England for any reason. I don't want to be
Is
there
that too soon?
in the virtual world, and I don't want to be there in the real world. Fuck it. Like, my wife is
I
from
really don't
England,
want to be there in the real
and
world.
half the time I can't stand her. So I definitely don't want to go there. Like,
Oh
fuck
yeah.
that.
Not to get too personal on the recording here, but you guys like together? Like, what's your deal?
No. Well, I'll tell you afterwards. Like, this is
okay.
about
You don't
great
wanna-
stuff,
you don't
not,
wanna-
not shitty stuff.
You don't want to throw your dirty laundry out there on the internet for
No,
everybody?
no,
All
definitely
right.
not. Not for my one or
Hey,
two viewers.
Hey, me and my wife would get along great.
I'm glad. Fucking, I'm glad.
Yeah, I know.
I like
Me
your
too.
wife.
It
Your
only
wife
took
was cool.
8 years. Once she got into gaming, it made our whole relationship go a lot smoother.
I'd imagine so. Like, being able to just sit there and turn on a game and enjoy it with someone that you want to spend your life with. Like, a shared interest is important.
No, yeah, you have to have that. You couple the games together, stays together. But anyway. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, the more I think about it, God of War could be one of the best games of all time. The one way it's coming out.
The one that's coming out?
The one that's coming out, the way that it's been presented so far, I genuinely believe, and I'm a huge God of War fan, not as big as John is, but it was always missing something. It was always kind of like an action movie, you know what I mean? Where it's great. Rambo, it's a great movie. Actually, Rambo's a bad example because Rambo is kind of like, it's got there's
I
some
love
emotion
Rambo.
in it. You know what I mean? There's some emotion in Rambo that a lot of people miss, but you know what I mean? Like it just felt like it was just a metal song. It just, you ran through it, and that's what it was. And it was what it was. And there was a limit to the depth it had. I feel like this one coming up could really change all that and add a dimension to the series that they've never had. And it could be seriously one of the
I won't
greatest
say that they
games
never
ever
had
made.
it. I just said that I'd say that it was never a main focus of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the tragedy of Kratos and his family. Oh my God, Steve! If you don't fix your shit and fix this echo,
What are you talking about? It's not me.
yeah, it is. It wasn't here
it's
before you
always
stepped in here. Did it just appear
Oh,
with
you
you?
I hear it
be
echoing
in
for
a-
you too.
You couldn't have
He
heard
might
it
be in a
before
big
you got
room.
in here because it wasn't here before you got here.
Oh,
And you
man,
weren't here.
Dropping the pants on the recording.
Steve, mute your mic.
Abandoned ship. Abandoned ship.
Anyway,
What up, Steve?
like oh my God, I can just hear it. It is so irritating.
That's
Steve,
We have vaulted ceilings. That's
turn the
what this
TV
is.
off on your mic on your TV, or turn the volume off on your TV. Turn the TV off on
Jesus
your
Christ,
TV.
Josh.
It's going off the rails.
Hello.
So you like
Is
the
there
fact that it's
anybody
going the
out
same
there?
route as like The Last of Us?
It's gonna be
Jesus Christ,
amazing.
man.
It's
It
gonna be
looks like
amazing.
Last of Us meets God of War meets Skyrim meets fucking I have no idea. It looks
Uncharted.
like
It doesn't. It looks good.
Yeah,
it definitely looks good.
it looks incredible.
That was my
totally
game of
stoked about
E3.
it.
When I seen that, I was like, that was my favorite.
I don't
game
see
because
how it was.
I've played and beaten all of them, so when I was waiting for it because
Yeah, I
how
don't
the
see-
last one ended, it was like, okay, they're making don't Shenmue me again. You know what I mean? Like, don't do this to me. Like,
What is going
don't-
on with Shenmue?
It's
like-
gonna take 17 years to make this game because it's
They
being
reached their Kickstarter
crowdfunded
goal
in-
in like a day, and like I can't remember the last announcement about it.
Well, the thing, yeah, and they can't, they didn't anticipate it, so now they're trying to. I'm sure they're building the studio right now. They're like, oh shit, they really wanted this. We got to make some phone calls because
We
not
asked them
ready.
to put their money where their mouth is, and they did it.
I have a couple drawings on a napkin, and now I have $28 million. I got to figure out what to do with, make a game, or however much. But yeah, no, I hope. God of War. I do like the irony, like the human side of a guy who kills gods and was a god himself. It is kind of intriguing because it's like you can't stay that angry. That's a lot of energy to just be that mad all the time. There's got to be a time where it's just all right.
And he had
you,
another
like,
kid.
Sat down
Like,
and took
that's-
a look at everything. And I'm wondering who the hell's kid that is. I wonder if it's what.
I don't think it's
Gaia- Or
his,
not Gaia.
like-
The fucking. I don't. Yeah, it doesn't look anything like him because he's Persian. That kid looks pretty damn white. And they're in Valhalla, so he's like super white.
I don't know whose kid
That's
that
where
is,
white
but I
people
don't think
came
it's
from,
his.
right, in mythology, isn't it?
Jesse.
Oh, I don't know. But I just the thing that I read in the Game Informer about, they were saying how he's going to be important throughout the whole game, and they have a button dedicated to the kid. And I thought that was kind of weird because, like,
What does that mean?
he killed Zeus. What the fuck does he need an 8-year-old for, you know? But I guess one of the things that they're trying to use him for is, like, that troll was speaking in a Nordic language, and the kid can understand it, and Kratos can't. So I guess he'll be there probably to further the story along and shit like that. You know what I mean?
He's just translator.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and
that's
I don't
really
know if he's got
irresponsible.
any
I'm gonna
kind
take a
of
child
abilities.
on a murderous journey just so he can tell me what
Well,
the people
that's the
I'm
thing
killing
too, is that
says.
I've been trying to think about what his role is gonna be, because if he's gonna be running around, he's got to be more than a translator. And if he's actually Kratos' kid, I mean, Kratos at one point was like one of the most powerful beings on Earth, right? Like, he was. So
He's the god of war.
yeah, so kind of like this
Well,
kid has to
something's
have
happening
some
because he's
use,
old.
You know what I mean?
He's getting old. You know what I mean? Like, clearly they've shown him he's weathered and he's old. Here's my shot out there of what I think is gonna happen in the game. So yeah, you're gonna deal with this kid, and he can be a translator and whatever. Maybe this kid finds Kratos there. If this is Valhalla, which is like whatever, isn't that like kind of like that's where warriors go when they die? They feast
Yeah.
in the big hall and blah blah blah. Maybe this kid finds him like on the in that journey there or whatnot. You know what I mean? And kind of helps him, so he starts helping the kid. And
Yeah, but why
I'm
would he
thinking
do
maybe.
Why would the
this
kid even be
Kratos
there? How
doesn't
can a
need-
kid get into
Kratos
Valhalla?
doesn't-
That's like
listen,
a heaven for
Kratos
warriors.
doesn't
That kid's
need
like 8.
anybody. Well, it's not
Well, here's-
supposed to be Valhalla. That's where you go after you die. But
Yeah.
this is supposed to be a time before, like in Nordic and Viking lore, I guess you would say.
What I'm saying
they-
is like if I think he's not gonna stay a kid. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe that will be the
I don't
twist. Is
think
like,
so.
like he plays a bigger role. Maybe that's just the first part of the game. You know what I mean?
You think they're gonna
That,
like Metal Gear
you know,
Solid you, where sooner or later you're playing as the kid? And
you know what? I wouldn't put.
I don't want that
fucking
at all.
because
I don't
it
think.
just
I
sounds-
think
it
they
just-
know
it's-
everybody does not want that. I don't need another Raiden.
Yeah. No,
I don't think he's gonna take over. Like he's gonna be the focus, but I think maybe they'll beef him up. You know what I mean? Enough to be an asset and not the fucking fragile thing.
I think it's just gonna be. I think it's just gonna be like The Last of Us, where you're towing Ellie along.
Are you joining, John?
Yeah, I'll join. Josh,
Yeah,
get on Call of
I
Duty with us.
really hope that's not the way that it goes down. You know what I mean? Because I feel like Kratos, first and foremost, he can't do by himself. And he walked through the entire fucking, like, hall of Roman gods.
Greek mythology.
Greek gods. Yeah, he walked through Greek mythology with his cock swinging down by his kneecaps. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't need an 8-year-old for anything. You know, he really doesn't.
Well, I don't think he has any of his powers anymore. Like, what if that's it? Like, you know, the kid's bow or whatever is what you're gonna need to finish off bosses.
Well, remember he did the whole Thor thing with his axe. When he threw the
that's
axe
right.
at the guy and he went to the cliff, he did do the whole. His axe came back to him. I don't know. Like it's weird. He's
All right,
playing
so
the role of
apparently
teacher,
none of us know
you
what the
I mean?
fucking kid's actually gonna be for.
You know what? All the more.
We're just
reason
all
to buy it.
left guessing.
I gotta know.
It's
I have to
definitely
know.
interesting though. It's
think
something
you
I
know
really
another-
want to know, but I feel like at this point the setup that they gave us, it's gonna take a lot to fuck it up, and they never have. They never fucked up a God of War game. Even the Vita games were awesome. You know what I mean? Like even the PSP games were good. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
And not to sound sentimental and like saying that whatever, like a sissy, like what he needs the kid for. Well, the overarching thing that Kratos battled in his mind is he wanted peace. Like after he killed his family and everything, and if you remember in the first game, he tried killing himself and they wouldn't let him because he was over it. So I mean, maybe that's what this kid is too. Is like it's him finding his peace.
He doesn't look very peaceful in that game.
Well, but you see,
seem like same old asshole
Kratos. But no, I totally disagree. He was totally different in this game because he was still teaching the kid as they were fighting the monster. You know what I mean? And like when he had to take over, he took over like a dad, a teacher would. But I mean, like when they killed the moose or deer, whatever the hell it was, he's showing him like, hey, this is part of the deal. Like he never does that. He would have threw the kid in the woods somewhere. You know what I mean? Get out of my way! And then took the fucking horns off the thing, shoved it up his ass, threw him off the cliff, gutted him, all that stuff, and then started burning the forest down, you know what I mean? Like, and killing everything. But he was like, get your bow, he's like, I thought it was more badass that he was staying calm, fighting the monster, while still teaching the kid, get the bow out, and he's holding down a giant monster. Shoot him, then he shot him in the shoulder, like, damn it, And
the only thing worse than a guy who's like thoroughly trained and an expert and beating you to death is a guy who's calm enough to think it through. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And instruct his son on how to shoot you.
Yeah, that's terrifying. By the way, we're only playing domination for another. And I got 28 kills to go, and then I got the contract. So that's it.
Hold on a second. We're not gonna be broadcasting for a second.
Talking to the